Goddamn, bro. I can't believe this video has aged so well. Holy shit. You know what the fuck I'm saying? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This video that I talked about with Capcom's restructure and how it paid off and how the strawman arguments against them are dumb. It's just paying off thoroughly well. Like, modern Capcom really started to get a rise, a foothold back into what we loved in 2017. I think that was Resident Evil 7. It turned out to be a success. It was great. It was a fun game. I played it on live stream. I enjoyed the fuck out of this game. And from there, we started to get like banger after banger announcement or banger after banger game. DMC5 fucking goated, the Resident Evil remakes goated, then continuing on with Monster Hunter World. I played that and I enjoyed it. Monster Hunter Wilds, the beta, played that, had a lot of fun with it. Just so much stuff with Capcom. I even thought the like Exo Primal was a really enjoyable experience despite being live service. I had fun with that game for what it was, and I'm planning to play Kinesugami and hopefully enjoy that as well. But Capcom has been batting averages into the sun. They've been hitting home run after home run. And it's so many people that tend to dislike this direction, but this is the closest we are getting to golden age Capcom, in my opinion. They really took the criticism of excessive outsourcing and they decided to say, fuck it, we're gonna try to do better. We don't want a DMC reboot, time in and time out. We don't want to outsource stuff like Dark Void and have it go nowhere. We want to make fire games under our repertoire, what we're known for, right? And I love this notion how they had this super elections poll and the company said, we're focusing on reactivating dormant IPs because that was one of the main criticisms of modern Capcom. They basically hit a very experimental phase. Let's bring back the safest IPs, Street Fighter and Resident Evil, and then let's do this experiment of other IPs like Exo Primal and Kinesugami and then Pragmata, and Pragmata is like nowhere to be seen. I enjoy Exo Primal for what it was, and Kinesugami, I still need to play that game, but now they're tapping into the untapped well of the past, and they're focusing on things that haven't had a new launch recently. The company is working to further enhance corporate value by leveraging its rich library of content, which includes reviving past IPs like the two titles that was announced at the Game Awards. It was basically Onimusha Fest and Okami, and I couldn't get more hype. And they're going to be highly efficient, high quality, meaning they're not going to skim out on making these games good. I think it's the reason why Onimusha is going to drop in 2026. They're going to give all this time to enhance that game and make sure it's the dark fantasy that we always craved. Same for decisions that we're going to talk about with Okami and Hideki Kamiya being back yet again. I am very excited at this possibility. Of course, it leads to questions. Am I going to ask for more? Fuck yes, of course. Where's Dino Crisis, right? We need a new high bar. Dino Crisis, we need a new high bar. Rival Schools, what about Power Stone? What about things like Final Fight? There are a lot of old IPs that you can revive and bring back from the dead. I think the main one that people voted on with this super elections is Dino Crisis, right? That's the main one that won the polls, as well as reviving Mega Man. And Mega Man's been pretty much down in the dirt, down in the coffin forever. Your prestigious mascot is the one that needs to get a new entry. I think if they focus on bringing Dino Crisis and Mega Man back, then we're going to see a resurgence of the gold era come back yet again. And I think this is like really important, as well as other things I talked about on Blue Sky. Like, why not remaster the other Onimusha games. If you're making a new one, Onimusha 2, Onimusha 3, Demon Siege, this hasn't really been remastered to a great degree. Also, the other Onimusha games as well, like Dawn of Dreams and Blade Warriors, you could bring those back as well and say, hey, we're doing a bundle here, you want to catch up on the series, why not give them a Resident Evil style remaster like the one that was done for the first remake, and then you're fucking golden. I think that needs to happen. I think that needs to be done. Put out a collection. Even some of my friends like on Blue Sky, they're asking for it. I would love to be able to play this without PC emulation before the next sequel comes out, before the next entry, and that'll be fine. It's still a few more steps to go, and I think the super elections and these announcements will bring credence to that. Keep going, you're making it as good as possible. We're seeing some more developments, like apparently the Mega Man development team is still adding on people. Apparently they added on 2 people to their credits, which is Shingo Izumi and Hiroshi Ito. I think Mega Man is coming eventually. I don't know how they're gonna do it in RE Engine, but at this point I think they're capable of doing anything. And then there's the whole Rex engine. How is that going to look for the next generation? Because I mean, before they were honing up and optimizing Monster Hunter Wilds, people were concerned about the engine handling open world. And I do believe that jump is probably gonna happen after Pragmata, because that's like RE Engine. After that, we're gonna start seeing like next generation Capcom, like Resident Evil. The faces, the models, they'll probably look like so fucking incredible, the gore and everything. Oh man, just the possibilities there for the Rex engine with Resident Evil, and hopefully, presumably, Dino Crisis in the future. That's going to be incredible. So as I'm hyped up, I'm all hyped up here. I'm ready to go. I want to sort of examine some of the gameplay from the Onimusha Way of the Sword announcement trailer. I did a playthrough on Warlords, I think a review as well. I've played Onimusha 3 and I played a little bit of Dawn of Dreams. 3 is dope. I really like the past and present dynamic where you can sort of, I think it's past and future actually, where Samanosuke can switch and go to like the modern era, and then Jock was the one that could go to the past, and he's like a modern sort of soldier cop or something like that, where he has like a fucking gun and he's whipping these Gemma and shooting them. And I thought that was like really cool. It was a cool dynamic of fucking future and past put together in one game with time displacement. This seems to be going back to basics, as like my friend like called it out before I even saw anything. Like when he saw the souls floating, he's a big Onimusha stan. He was like, oh my god, it's fucking Onimusha. I couldn't tell it was Onimusha until the souls started going into the gauntlet, and I was just like, holy fucking shit, it's time. All right. But initial thought was, oh, this is going to be some samurai game. Capcom, I don't think their logo flashed up during Game Awards. It was like well after. It was some sort of samurai game. And I was like, okay, well, we have like a slew of those, very popular. It looks very dark and foreboding, you know, before finding out it was Onimusha, but this was the money shot right here for me. And I was just like, holy fuck it. I was like, oh shit. I was going off the rails, boy. You have no idea. I've been waiting years for another Onimusha. Ever since like the Warlords remaster, I was like hungry for more. Cause we're never getting Gimna because that fucking shit is like exclusive to Xbox. But I was just hungry as shit. I was like, okay, I played Gemma Onimusha and they have like so much extra content. When are we getting like more of this franchise? Of course they said like Onimusha 3 was the final one, and then they made like another one knowing that a lot of people do really love this shit. And samurai games, they couldn't be any more popular in the modern era. We had Neo, we had fucking Rise of the Ronin, Ghost of Tsushima, AC Shadows is coming. It is definitely getting saturated with cool samurai titles. And Onimusha was like just the OG GOAT, man. This was the one where it's like, hey, Resident Evil was a basis, and we got a bunch of fucking swords and samurai and shit, and we're gonna cut stuff up, no problem. And boom, the money shot. And just the graphical fidelity of what we have now with the RE engine, the textures, and I think the RE engine kind of, it's not the most 100% colorful engine. It definitely did not fully serve the artistic expression that could have been with DMC5, with Qyphoth everywhere, of course, so the environments could have been better, but it really lends to the dark atmosphere of this game more overall, I would say, because look at the Gemma in the background where he's like all infected, eyeball hanging out, the straw hat and everything, and then human monster ready to attack the player. And then we have gameplay, which we didn't see gameplay of Okami, but we saw gameplay of this. We have a clash in the building, which is, I think clashes did happen in the original as well. And we have a takedown of a throw slash, or stabbing the guy in the head fully with the sword. It looks like your character is wielding two blades here. I don't know if anyone caught that before while watching this, but are we gonna get like a dual style here with like two dual katanas? It kind of reminds me a little bit of, once again, I hate to break it up, but Neo had dual katanas as well, so Onimusha having them would be pretty cool. I think it had them before in the past, but hey, correct me if wrong. It's been a long time since I played these games. I feel like an old fossil. You know what I mean? I feel like a fucking fossil here. Oh, and just, I don't know if that's like a, what do they call those attacks where you like flash white and you hit someone? It's like a critical strike. I think it's called an Ishin attack. That probably should be like reintroduced into the game in a new different way, but the guy was flashing a little bit for a second, at least the sword was, so I'm assuming they're going to at least think about all these older mechanics in play. My video player is also acting shit right now during this whole breakdown, so I apologize, but yeah, just like the white off the swords, I'm wondering to myself, are they going to be Ishin mechanics or maybe some indicator before you get attacked? But clearly, as the Gemma dies, you see the souls everywhere, which you have to absorb into the gauntlet, and you get like more XP where you can sort of tool up your weapons to be a little bit stronger. But the thing is here, yeah, that could have been a critical strike. Oh, and the gore too. Look at, oh fuck, just more gore, please, cause that Gemma got sliced in fucking half. Oh man, I'm just gonna be completely 100% glazing here. It's just perfect. It's just chef's kiss. It's just perfect to me. I see zero wrong with this gameplay. You see, a touch of gameplay could really just even out the difference. We got two Gemma attacking, and again, the dark gray. The dark gray really lends to the atmosphere. I hope this game does have a dark story. Oh, now shit is getting really crazy. So beforehand with the first Onimusha, I believe it was kind of like fixed camera samurai game, which is why a lot of RE comparisons are drawn from there. But as the series evolved, eventually you started going behind the back with Onimusha 3, and it became like more of a cool action game. So it seems like they're working in those dark aesthetics while also you see some of the camera angles. Look at this. Oh, beautiful. God damn it, video, I just pressed play. But this creature right here, this is an interesting monster. Apparently this is like a grab of some sort, so you can tell, grab it, throw it over here. Whoa, we are going a little bit too far ahead. So you can like tail grab that, throw it. These are like giant Oni creatures with big axes, and apparently this is another clash with these creatures. Like, I'm not sure the parameters of getting this, but it's like a deflection almost right there, and it's white, so you can tell like the indicators right there. Throw it away, then you start attacking again, right? There's like enemies surrounding the sub boss too. Now this big creature, this might be a throwback to one of the first like bosses you fight, called the Osiric or whatever the fuck, however you pronounce it. I just call him Giant Red Tomato Man, because I know you fight him in Onimusha 1 in the caves, and he's the first boss. It's a really fun battle when you fight this thing. You see him in the intro and he kind of like bodies Samanosuke a little bit, and then you fight him as a boss, and it's just like he's slow, but when you start to get like the mechanics and get around him, he's a very cool entry level boss. And you see this creature, some form of him again, as you're fighting him. He does like a charging headbutt. Let me see if this can play. There we go. And you see the main character here. I don't know if he's related to Samanosuke or not. This might be an entirely new character. I'm not like perfectly sure, but there could be some relation. I mean, in a long slew of like slaying Oni and Gemma, it could be some ties to the original first one. But that demon is pretty telling because it looks very similar to the previous Osiric. And then the trailer ends. Oh fuck me, I can't wait for this to come out. I'm streaming it day one, day 0, 2026 though. My god. And then you hear a little bit of some of the main character talking.
It feels like I'm getting less human by the minute.
British main character. I don't know, British Japanese is kind of a interesting blend, all things considered. Let's see, we're gonna now go to that was a fun little breakdown. We're going to now go to the Okami thing, and it's not too much to say. I just want to talk about some possibilities here. Of course, the biggest thing about Okami, and I never played the first one, by the way. I have like no experience with this franchise whatsoever. I've never played the original. I just heard that people say it's Zelda with a wolf. And that sounds like it could be fun. That sounds like it could be interesting, a good time. But we have Hideki Kamiya on board for this game, and we all know that this is a huge piece of news because Kamiya left Capcom for Platinum Games. He established that, and he made titles like Wonderful 101 and Bayonetta, and that company also produced things without him like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. They did Transformers Devastation, Mutants in Manhattan, which was asked for, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and a bunch of other action games. I believe Legend of Korra as well. They were known for being the next hack and slash juggernaut, essentially, for the games they produced. I don't know if they did they do Vanquish. I don't know if that was Sega or not, so once again correct me if wrong, but Kamiya was disgruntled after a lot of things went on with Capcom and Clover Studio closed. I remember he made Beautiful Joe, and they just shuttered that studio. So now he's with Clover's, which is completely brand new. It's an offshoot, and they're working with about 20 people. Unfortunately, with hype comes misinformation, and I think, number one, people think that Capcom owns Clover's when in fact they don't. Clover's is comprised of 20 people, along with Kamiya and his other employee, like that is speaking in the interview, right? It is also being worked on in conjunction with M2, and if you don't know who M2 is, they are the people that made Resident Evil 3 Remake. That team that is a subsidiary, and I believe that Capcom has like good graces with M2. They sent those people over to Clover's to work on Okami. You know, RE Engine assets, all that stuff they have familiarity with. They're probably going to implement that into this game, and it's a joint collab with Capcom and M2 and of course Clover's. See, they want to expand as well, meaning that, of course, I mean, if they were already with Capcom, they would already be big as fuck, right? Because Capcom has like numerous people that work on development teams. Kamiya also says to this question about Japanese companies approaching him and maybe getting funded by them, he says this quote: "We were fortunate enough to receive a number of offers," which we know Capcom had to be one of them, but right now we just like to see how far we can go on our own. We want to maintain the freedom to do whatever we want. It is true that it's harder to keep the lights on without taking on investors, but we're doing our best at Clover's to preserve our independence. Read it. To preserve our independence as a studio. It seems that they know it's hard to maintain money, and it doesn't seem like it's off the table that Capcom could buy them out if they really want to, and they make that choice, and that would be cool because Clover Studio back at home, baby. But the thing is, they want to also stay independent, and I get that as well. It kind of is reminiscent of Kojima and Kojima Studios and how he wanted to sort of branch off, do his own thing, and not be like a slave to some other publisher or someone else. Just do the games that they like, and ultimately if the work shows, then other investors will come in and say, hey, make a game for us, make this for us, make that for us. Where this lies in the future of DMC, because I saw people say, oh well, Clover's is back at Capcom. No, that's not the case. Could Capcom approach Kamiya to make a Devil May Cry 1 remake? It is possible if they want to invest in that idea. They probably will have like a lot more manpower than M2, because I believe that DMC needs an entire development team to really get that off the ground, but this is a healthy bridge. It is mending the bridge between Kamiya and Capcom, where they have a good working relationship now, and if that is maintained, then that's gonna be really nice for the future. I'm hoping the best, really, for this, that the best outcomes, sales, and dreams come from making this game. Already we have the dreams of making this game because no one expected an Okami sequel in a million years. Hopefully it goes well for them. Hopefully it goes well for us as Devil May Cry fans. I would be fucking to the moon if we got a remake of DMC 1, and I think the streets really need that right now, so to speak, right? So let's let Capcom cook and see what they do with Devil May Cry. Personally speaking, I wouldn't mind an older or a newer creative head come in as they evaluate that series, but I think a remake is the perfect way to go for DMC 1. There is a tweet though that is kind of funny that I'm gonna end the video off on. Let me find it for you guys real quick. I found it. It's funny as fuck. So Kamiya, in his more, you know, funny fashion with how he responds to posts. I gotta find this on my Discord because apparently the guy who made the tweet deleted it because he got roasted. So he says this. Let's see if you can see it right here. I'm highlighting it with my cursor. He asked Kamiya, are we going to see Devil May Cry 6 sometime in the future? You know, just throwing it out there, random question. And Kamiya says, ask Capcom, you idiot. Okay, so it's like, I don't know. He seems willing to do it despite being a little bit vitriolic in this post. He seems willing to do it. Maybe he's annoyed because people ask this question like 5 million times. Someone said the worst he could say is no. Okay, and I agree with that. Like, the worst you could say is no, but ask Capcom, and then if Capcom wants what they want, then he's open to the potential and possibility. Right now, DMC is still in a limbo state. We don't know what they're doing with it. We don't know how it's going to be coordinated in the future. We don't know particularly what is going on. But again, like I said before in previous videos, and this one of course, so I want you to take that into account, and this one of course, number one, mending the bridge with Kamiya is good. This is very good for a lot of reasons. And then number two is that Resident Evil, fucking Street Fighter, and other franchises, they had people that were the main figureheads and creative heads leave, like Shinji Mikami for Resident Evil, Yoshinori Ono for Street Fighter, and they still managed to make very good entries without them. I would say trust in the process for the future, and we'll see how it goes with this franchise. I know I'm a big Devil May Cry fan at heart. The only thing I hope for now is that DMC gets more recognition, because 5 has sold astronomically and we need more of representation of that series and more fucking entries going forward. I can only hope, because of Isuno's like philosophy that I really don't want to do remakes. Remakes aren't my jam. That someone is open to more sequels and remakes, and Capcom trusting in this franchise, which is a critique that is constructive. I understand people saying that and having that make sense. Anyway, I am Renegade Operative. I am signing out. This is what I think of this current Capcom news. We have nowhere else to go but up, and I'm hoping that Dino Crisis fans, even Resident Evil fans, not seeing much at the Game Awards, not getting any information whatsoever, I hope that 2026 is really good for this company, 2025 as well, and that we all get what we want. I'll see you guys next time. Later.